What's going on, everyone? It's Jamie here, and today I'm joined by FootWiz Pro player and E-League Pro player playing for Sydney FC in the E-League. It is FootWiz Dylan. Dylan, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you, Jamie. I'm keen for this one.
Good. So obviously the first week of the E-League has been, and I got set with a task to record a tactics video with someone in the E-League that is currently undefeated, and you are undefeated, Dylan. Can you talk us through how that first week went?
Yeah, as you said, undefeated. I've got 2 wins out of 2 so far, so 100% record. Hopefully that can continue throughout the rest of the E-League group stages and into the playoffs. But yeah, look, first week, 2 wins. Wasn't the most comfortable towards the end, but got the results, and that's all that matters.
Tell you what, I mean, it's an upgrade on the last Sydney FC player in the E-League. I'm not sure who that was, though. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. We can just get straight into the tactics and look at Dylan's team that is using in the E-League this year. Obviously, if you don't know already, all E-League players that are competing need to have 2 players from the club they're representing on the field at all times. Dylan, who do you choose for your E-League team?
So yeah, as you mentioned, I need 2 Sydney FC players, and that for me is Ryan Grant and Anthony Caceres. I think those 2 are just the best overall in the Sydney FC squad at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I was just saying, even when I was playing in the E-League, Ryan Grant was someone that I went to. I guess it's like the fullbacks, and then you probably pick like a midfielder or a winger, depending if they have good pace, good physical stats, just something like that. But obviously, what we want to know, Dylan, is what tactics you were using for the first week. What formation were you using? Talk us through it.
So I was actually using a completely different tactic in the E-League as opposed to what I use in the FGS competitions.
Okay.
I was using the 4-2-3-1. I think because it's the most balanced, and because you have to use 2 A-League cards, I think it's the best formation to incorporate both of them, where there's the least amount of impact on your overall play. So I think by far the best formation, in my opinion, is 4-2-3-1, and we'll go through the tactics I use now.
I mean, I think like people watching this video that do play Ultimate Team or have played Ultimate Team in previous years would know that 4-2-3-1 has kind of been a staple throughout most pro or competitive players. However, in the last couple of years, especially last year and this year, 4-2-3-1 isn't one of the main formations you rarely see in FGS tournaments. I still love to use it personally because, like you said, it is the most balanced in defense and attack, and it sets up your team so nicely. So I'm looking forward to these tactics because mine probably need a little bit of work.
Yeah, so these are the tactics that got me the 2 wins in the first match week. 4-2-3-1 is the formation, as we alluded to before. Balanced defensive style, 45 width, 55 depth, pretty standard. Build-up play and chance creation both on balance. Typically, a lot of people use direct passing for their chance creation, but in my opinion, 4-2-3-1 functions the best with balance. You get a bit of everything. 55 widths, you got a bit of wing, a bit of space on the wing. With your players, you can use the wings overlapping with your fullbacks as well. 6 players in the box, have that midfield runner from deep come in from one of your central defensive midfielders. 3 corners and 2 for free kicks.
I was going to mention it, Dylan, but you already got in there first with direct passing. It's something that we've seen a lot of the time the last couple FIFAs and how useful it is in other formations, but you're saying no for 4-2-3-1. And I was going to comment on the depth because normally in FIFA 23 I'd see that maybe a lot higher, but you've chosen to go a bit deeper on this one.
Yeah, one of the main reasons I think this setup is being used by me personally, especially as you alluded to with the depth, with having the 1 A-League fullback, I think you need to stand off a little bit more because a lot of the time your opponent's going to put Timothy, Kylian Mbappe on your A-League fullback, and obviously he's incredibly fast, so if you do try step up, have a really high press, then you're going to get caught out in behind a lot of the time. So this is kind of adjusted to suit these, I guess, stipulations with the squad restrictions, and having to use Ryan Grant, who's maybe a bit slower than someone else would be in a fully unlocked account.
I guess like a lot of people could relate to this even in their own ultimate teams as well, whether they've got weaker players in defense, for example, or their teams when they're playing foot champs and division rivals isn't as good as their opponents as well, then maybe these tactics would be useful for them.
So this is how the team lines up in game in the 4-2-3-1. As you can see, Ryan Grant at right back and Anthony Caceres a bit different to how he operates in real life, playing almost on the left wing for me. Now, the main reason behind this is I want as much balance as I can get in this team, and by having 1 Sydney FC player on each side of the pitch, it means that I can create opportunities on both wings. So how I'll play with this formation is making sure I overlap on the left with my Theo Hernandez because he's fast, I use Caceres to play balls in behind as soon as I beat my opponent's fullback. And then there's not really any weaknesses for me on either side of the pitch when going forward. Now, going into the instructions of this, my striker is just on stay central. I don't want him making runs in behind all the time. Sometimes I want him to come to feet. Other times I want him to get in behind, but I'll trigger those runs manually myself. My middle attacking mid is just on comeback on defense. Both wingers on comeback on defense and get into the box for cross. Now, I want this just that they support me in defense, and also a lot of the time in this formation, you'll get the ball to one of your fullbacks or to one of the wingers, and you'll be in a situation where there's a cross on towards the back post. The CDMs, both of them, one of them I've got on stay back while attacking, cover center. The other one, Ruud Gullit, who's the more, attacking, the more capable player going forward. On balanced attacking support, cover center. Now this goes hand in hand with the tactics I mentioned before, 6 plays in the box. Gullit, once they get to the edge of the box, will often make a late run inside the box, and then it'll be very difficult to pick up that runner, and he just offers that extra man when I might be struggling to create chances. And both fullbacks to finish it off on stay back while attacking. As I mentioned before, Theo Hernandez, I use him to overlap a lot of the time, but I like triggering those runs manually like I do with R9.
So I think the main takeaways with your instructions there, Dylan, is that for one of your CDMs, you have one on stay back while attacking, not the other. And obviously your thought process behind that is to have the more defensive player to stay back, and then whoever you want to make those late runs, which then, obviously, like you mentioned with your tactics, that other player will be making that late run because of the players in the box. That's the more attacking player.
Yeah, definitely. As you said perfectly, Ruud Gullit, he's just the one that's much more capable going forward. And then if for some reason I lose the ball edge of the box, because I've got that one CDM on stay back, I won't get caught out on the counter attack.
And then you spoke about also triggering your own runs, and if people don't know what that means, it's using R1 to come short in game or L1 to make a run in behind. What would you say for players that maybe haven't mastered that themselves yet, especially with the fullbacks? Would you kind of advise them to have maybe one on overlap, or even the striker? Is it something you think one is more important than the other?
I think something that you can do if you really are struggling with making the runs yourself is turning on direct passing.
Okay.
A lot of the time your players will make runs in behind for you when you get into the final third. So if you do struggle with that, that's definitely a quick solution that you can implement.
Okay, yeah, so obviously on the base level, this is what's working for you. You've explained why you're using certain instructions and tactics as well, which now that we've spoken about, hopefully people watching this, if they have a little bit of a different play style or can't do certain things or haven't learnt that yet, obviously would advise you to go out and try and learn those things. But if you haven't and you want a bit of help, maybe switching to direct passing in the tactics means that players will run forward a bit more and make those runs for you. And even for your fullbacks, maybe you could have one on overlap instead of balance if you're not triggering those yourself. And then for the striker, I guess you can play it by ear. Well, I think those tactics and instructions were beautifully explained by Dylan. And if you guys are obviously watching this and wondering how to get more wins, how to be more compact in FIFA, and how to score more goals, I would definitely recommend trying these out yourself. But Dylan, any last words?
Oh, look, it was a pleasure to share these tactics. Hopefully they do help people out. And hopefully these are the tactics that take me to E-League glory for back-to-back seasons.
There we go, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content.